let me tell you what. So, yeah, stuff will try to get in your way, slow you down. And least part of a lot of this is, like I said, my own enjoyment in this, man. Like, I enjoy it. That's the part I want. It's the part I want is to learn, is to grow, is to figure this stuff out. And it's like some of it is just like having such a deep understanding of certain these concepts and having lacking the ability to express them to other people. And like a lot of this is I've been learning a lot of this is not really me, it's not really me so much as it is people's own dissonances, you know what I mean? Like, and while we're watching this video right now, and it's like, it always did. It was always weird to me how other people couldn't learn. Dang it, hold up. You know what? I should bring Lucy. See, trying to figure stuff out. I want to bring Lucy, but she's gonna make a lot of noise. You know what? I'm gonna finish this first. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish this first, kill the noise and whatnot. So basically, like, Professor Weinstein has a large knowledge base and a vast, experience in his own, in his own reality, basically. He went through, and he's fought for better understandings of our and whatnot in different ways. And so, he has, as far as anybody would, and in this particular, this very particular, you're trying to kill my doggone vocabulary. In this very particular academic setting, right? Mathematics, biology, and he understands different different academic settings to a large degree. And even so, I feel like he's being what his own detractors would and have been, would be, even at their best intentions, right? And at the worst, they're just, being detractors. And sometimes it's just because of their own lack of understanding, or because it triggers something because of their own actual understanding, right? They understand it such as it has been said before you. What I mean to say is that he also recognizes the dangers of instituting considerations or theories or hypotheses into your own knowledge base, because it could ruin the entire thing. And yet, like I said before, I don't think he recognizes the threat of accepting an entire knowledge base, right, as fact, right, and what harm that could do to your continued growth, and particularly your continued growth in other areas, right? And this is as such as it is above, and so it is below, because it's effective in the actual human being themselves, because as a knowledge base, it becomes a part of everything else, and thus you become that expression. And if you are poisoned to believe in this very limited thing, and you're taught something, because it's like, if you're taught this is one little thing at the beginning, right? And then the mathematics itself would kind of explain it. It's just like, further down the line, you know, you may get a long degree of it all fits in this. But then you get to this point where it's like, well, shit, we're stuck. You think you're stuck because you gotta, but it's like, this thing in the beginning is what's got you stuck, because it does, because like what he's, and it almost seems like he's dodging a little bit, because it's like, how do you not understand that, you know, because what Terrence Howard, and I understand for a long time, it's about, you know what I mean? Like you have to understand that these mathematics by themselves, they're just a game you're playing with shapes. That's it. You're playing fucking Sudoku. Mathematics by itself is fucking Sudoku. True academic mathematics, scientific mathematics. It is that the numbers are supposed to hold set to represent real things. Period. It's supposed to be set to represent real things. And if you mix those ideas, but you can't separate the fact that some of this is just hypothesis. It's a fun little game, like, look what I can do with these little shapes. And you don't add that into science, because these are supposed to be representative of things, right? And then you get into, like Professor Weinstein would say, the logo, the word part of it, and that in itself is perfect example of interjecting these ideas of how things don't matter, and using things improperly, right? Like words, the words matter, right? And I've known this right here, because I've known for a long time, for instance, a long time, right? And of how the word apocalypse, the word apocalypse means great unveiling, right? Oh man, it's so dope. So it means great unveiling or revealing, right? And yet, as far back as I can remember, like, the concept of the apocalypse has always been brought as, oh, this great age of horror and brimstones and fire and hell's coming and shit. And that has been, and it is even now, a lot of people's understanding of apocalypse. And it's been projected that way in a lot of ways. Whenever you see it, like in cinema or some people can, when they use the word apocalyptic, right? It's like, it's being used wrong. And then on top of it, right now, you can even look at the definition of it in a lot of places. And the top definition, if they even have the subtext and the context and the historic value of it under it, it's like the top definition will be apocalypse, something crazy like freaking, doomsday or considered of the end of times or something. And yet, if you go into, or like you should have been back in the day, you go to Oxford or the Merriam or whatever, you go find the real academic dictionaries and whatnot, you will still see down underneath, all right, it'll be like Latin. You'll see the true like the original meaning of that word. And so it's like, most of that word being used, let's go date it back in, like, the earliest, the 1700s. We'll start around that idea, because you're talking about a whole group of people that from that point on will be the way they're taught. You know what I mean? Though that the word means and whatnot. Most people understand it. It's like from the Bible, the great apocalypse, and there's hell and fire and brimstone is coming and blah 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 blah. And that consideration is what they've been given as the definition. And so when you hear apocalypse and whatnot, it's like that is what it is. And you've changed the value of a word, and yet. And so, and yet, some people, when they use it properly, you have a misunderstanding. And the problem comes out of you. And granted, that's not your fault, but that has to be considered. you know, you have to understand that that's a thing and it's to be considered. And like I said, right now, Professor Weinstein is trying to understand his motive, I guess. But it's like, why? It's like the information itself, right? And it's, you know what I mean? It's even at the highest levels, your dissidence can get in the way because, like I said, he is truly at like the highest level of people that can do these things, and yet he doesn't understand that there's a level above right now the highest of the academia, that they are not themselves academics, but they can have too much control over it. These things are not like accidents. They're intentional manifestations. They're malicious intents to keep you misinformed, and because if you use these mathematics with a misunderstanding, the results you get will be the results you get out of it are going to hold some misunderstood or ill represented value. And so, and you have to remember, like, mathematics, as we're taught, it has been set forth, you know, and you don't know what these people, and then, like I said, it's important to understand. It is important kind of to understand a person's intent, because what is your intent? And the intent behind those who gave you your knowledge, you know, was not nearly as benevolent as you may think. Because it, like I said, it can, will, and does keep you weak. You know, it may very well give to you a lot of what you know, some measures of, it's always something that's like, you know, much less valuable than what you were to gain, you know, if you had the true values. Yeah, and so, bro, and it's in this video, it's all right there. It is right in front of you. And like I said, the characters themselves help, they so aptly represent so much of, like I said, what I've myself gone through. Because there's core concept. There is this thing, right, that is, I have a deep understanding of its true value, and I know that others do as well, and yet I'm left hard pressed to express this value to others, you know. And even where I too have put forth as much effort as for Terrence Howard, it's like, well, at the same time, Terrence Howard has it gotten to a point in his life where he just has the time, and this has probably been over time. It's like right now, I'm still trying to do other stuff in the middle of doing this, which is most important, and to me, and to you know, this is part of my purpose, and so I have to, you know, do what I'm supposed to be doing. But there's other stuff I need to do that helps me, you know, it helps me to, you know, I don't know, exist, you know, well enough in this life to do this. You know, so, you know, all right, what else do I need? Oh, fucking keys. So, you know, at this point, like I said, I think I stopped at like, I forgot what the time was, but it's like, you know, yeah, he's, and it, like I said, this has been a long fight. Terrence Howard understands a lot of the other people that were in the fight, but it's like, and it's like, you know, I don't think it's on purpose, but it's just another point of how, you know, in the point of this topic, you know, he seems to have switched it off into something less important, like, this little BB King thing, but it's just like, okay, that's cool. A little commentary. I see that they did this for like 4 freaking hours, man. It's kind of rare for Joe Rogan to get into something this long. 3 hours solid is like a little long for most people, but this is so important, and I can see how, these are all men of great character, and I mean, all of them great character and huge freaking experience sets and so much to draw from. Very capable men. So I'm just so excited about continuing the video and pointing this shit out. But yeah, man, like I'm so excited because it's like all of it's right there. Like, even in my own experience, it's just running into things like this. I'm trying to explain to you, and then so I got somebody that you understand what you've been taught, right? And then there's like I said, the values. It's like, because mathematics has never been my strong suit, in so much it's like, but what am I doing with fractions, or what am I doing with these decimals? And it's just like, because I'm not, there's not much a freaking 15-year-old is gonna be doing with fucking decimals. Like, what am I doing with these? You know what I'm saying? And yet some other people, even without, I need to know what I'm doing with it, and so long as I have like an objective or a purpose, or, you know what I'm saying? Oh, okay, good. Geometry's always been easy because I understand what it was doing, and I could just literally use it in my everyday life. But it's like, but when you're just learning, and you will enjoy that part, or I don't know, some people, you can, you're that, you can understand these numbers and whatnot. But yeah, but I've understood that these core concepts. Hold up. You little shit. I'll catch you. I'll get you, my pretty. I've had a deep understanding of these core concepts, and even in high school, and especially in college, it's just like, but in college, nobody cares. Like, you're in a class, learn this, so you get past it, and especially in 101. There's no, you know what I mean? But I've had these problems with anytime I get into, anything higher than algebra, these little number sets and whatnot. And it's just questions because I don't understand it really, but these core concepts, like these understanding these mathematical theories, right? Like, some people can just play with numbers, but they don't understand what that shit means. They have no clue what it means, because they're not really attaching the numbers to anything. They're just playing with the numbers, and that is what their mind is. Me, it's like, well, what values am I attaching these things to? I understand these values. I understand these values themselves, or that some of these number sets were considered without values. And if you try to use them in any kind of capacity pertaining to something that you have values, like, to build a vehicle or something. And that's another part of, like, the number sets that we have, people are so set in them because we produce so much, right? There's a lot to be said for our ability to create, man. And, but your mindset should be more on discovery, and I think that's where the growth comes from, because you're seeking to discover. And some men, they're set on, like the ego wants to claim. And if you can create something that hold the masses in the thrall of it, then that people I guess, gain. They feel like they've gained some level of power or lesser value, like celebrity in itself, just to be notarized and like whatnot, and they'll fight to keep people in that because they feel like that's more important than, like, you know what I mean, like, because the pursuit was of some lesser value, not because they were truly engaged with, you know, higher purpose or something of value to the rest of us. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna get back to watching more of this video, and me and Lucy are gonna go get some ice cream probably. But I'm gonna watch some more of this video and see how long this takes, man. Because I'm only at freaking 20 minutes in, and it's just like, got 4 more hours. I can do this all night. I'm just so excited about it. But, yup, let's finish it.